take down that net.
I don't know that really worked for the Graysons.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man. Wow.
Too soon?
Is it? Dude, maybe it is. I don't know.
No, they're DC. It's fine.
Oh.
Man.
Michael out of the gate. Wow. Welcome to a somber episode of We Were Gamers. We're also comic bookers, episode 130.
General pop culture followers.
Yeah, we often cover pop culture items, more TV and movies than comics, I would say, directly, or other pop-related things. It's weird to say, having grown up a comic book fan, especially reading like Spider-Man comics out of the Sunday newspaper and stuff like that, to call that pop culture, because it definitely was not when I was a kid. Pop culture.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, like pop culture was 102.7 Kiss FM and all that stuff.
That is a Southern California radio station for those of you who maybe don't know the area.
Fair. Good point.
But yeah, top 40 is what that stuff
top
is.
40, right? Yeah, top 40 ruled the world, you know. A rough week and a half since we dropped last week our BlizzCon episode as our normal episode.
And, you know, BlizzCon has had its own share of controversy, I would say.
So Michael brought us straight to maybe the biggest news of the day that we record, which is Stan Lee passed away today at 95.
You know, I saw a meme about this, which, you know, always, of course there are memes, it's the internet. And it was the Stan Lee version of the Drake meme where he's like doing the no and then the yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And the no is passing away young due to drugs or overdose, and the yeah is living a long, fulfilling life, making everyone happy. Like, yeah,
95 is a heck of a run, even if you're not Stan Lee.
I can't believe up and through his very early 90s how he was still making appearances in movies. I saw him give a speech for over an hour at my alma mater for when he was maybe in his late 80s. He's got to have been in his late 80s, and I would think that most people would just want to sit on the couch and watch TV at that point. And he had to leave because he had something else to do at the end of that. And I'm like, how does an 80-year-old go give over an hour speech standing up the whole time, where he's yelling Excelsior and all sorts of stuff, and then goes and does another engage, you know?
Yeah, the man was a jet setting up until his 90s. Like,
yeah. I think that if you find true joy in this life and manage to bring it to others so effortlessly, I can't imagine, you know, how wonderful he must have felt every day. I hope he did. Because, wow. It's amazing. Do we need to, like, list off maybe our most influential Stan Lee character or moment or whatever?
Oh, I don't know that I could pick one.
Yeah. You know, I would say, you know, I definitely saw more of him later in his life than earlier. You know, I was not into comic books as a young child. I kind of got into them as a teen and older. But I think that just every time you saw the man on the news, or anytime you saw him, you know, out in the, you know, in his later years, I guess, I don't know what he was like as a, you know, a young man, not an old man. But he was just always so happy to be saying, hey, you know, you can create, look at all this stuff that I did, you know, you can do this too. It wasn't just like, you know, I'm not special in that I did this stuff. I did it because this is like what I believed in doing. And, you know, these kinds of worlds and these dreams that you people have, you could do stuff with those too. And he just always had a positive message to send, and that was really uplifting, I think.
Yeah, I definitely remember his appearance in Kevin Smith's Mallrats movie where he gives that speech and he says, you know, at some point I was just writing myself. I just took a little part, you know, and said, if I'm feeling, this is how I feel when I feel angry, and that was the Hulk, and giving characters emotions. Superman came before Stan Lee, and I like Superman as an icon of American culture, but overall, Superman, and people have heard me say this on the podcast and in person before, Superman is not that interesting. He's had some interesting storylines, etc., but that's because he's almost sometimes an emotionless prick, and at the best of times has nothing that you could ever think would hurt him. You know what I mean? And so his emotions really fall flat a lot of the time. I think Stan Lee was maybe one of the first guys that said it was okay for characters to feel frustrated and to really have personal flaws. I don't think American comics really had gotten to that point beforehand. And I mentioned earlier, I used to cut Spider-Man Sunday reprints out and paste them into a little notebook that I had. And I did that with family. So that had a pretty big memory overall for me. I don't know that as I got older I stayed with Spider-Man as much as maybe a lot of other people that came with him younger. I know the X-Men were all pretty big in my book. I don't know. It's just going to be, it's weird. I don't think it's hit me yet entirely. You know how sometimes you feel like somebody's still kicking around doing something even if you don't think about them for a long time?
I think even if, obviously, long since has the reins of Marvel and, the movies and all that sort of stuff. It's not like he was there, being the guiding vision behind that stuff anymore. But it's always good to see the old, his cameos in every single movie, were, it was something you just come to expect at some point. It's just like, oh, this is like a fun little touch back to the people who remember, when he was the guy in charge of Marvel Comics.
Sure.
And, it's going to be sad not to see that stuff anymore, for sure.
Yeah, well, I feel like those moments are going to get some people, too, because they're done filming Captain Marvel, right?
Yeah, so there will certainly be...
Potentially his cameo in Avengers, too?
Yeah, so is he... I hate to say this, but he didn't make it past Captain America,
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's got to hurt a little bit. I think when people see Avengers, especially, it'll hurt a lot because, you would think he could have been there for that crowning moment, maybe, of seeing these characters go all the way through their arcs from comics to movies. Anyway, that's about all I have to say about it. There's too much to say about Stan Lee. We could be here all night.
Yeah, I mean, there will be books and all sorts of things written about him in the time to come, and I'm sure we'll all read a lot of it. So
definitely. It also hasn't been a very easy week previous to this in Southern California where we live. I want to just throw a shout out to especially victims, but also firefighters of the California wildfires. I don't know if you guys have known anybody affected by them, but we had some family evacuated, and I also know somebody that lost their home of 40 years in Malibu. So it's just kind of weighs really heavy, not just in the air, but also on the mind, knowing, there are 200 plus people missing in this state and many more to come.
Yeah, definitely. If you get those evacuation orders, folks, don't dawdle. Get out.
Should we just stick with the heavy stuff and get into games?
Sure. Knock it all out at once, yeah.
Blizzard's not having a very good time.
Nope. We talked about it a little bit in the BlizzCon episode there, but
I think we didn't give it enough time. I feel like personally responsible that people are reacting this badly, If you don't know what we're talking about, during BlizzCon, and Michael, I want to really get your take on this because you were not at BlizzCon, but I'm sure you were following along our updates in the group chat, as always.
Yes.
Neither of us in the group chat had a negative reaction to this game. Some people with us were definitely dismayed at the game's release, potential upcoming release.
Yeah, and I don't think you or I were like, yeah, we love this either. We were just kind of like, eh.
Yeah, right. We went and tried it, and we both came away from it like, I probably won't play that, but I'm not surprised in the least that there's going to be a mobile version of every franchise that they own.
Yeah.
Not even surprised at all that if in the next year every mobile franchise they own has a mobile game. You know what I mean? Like, my words are getting all jumbled up, but
seems to be the way that the world is trending these days.
That's the way. It's the way it goes.
You know, there are tons of mobile games in all sorts of genres. There are tower defense games, there are strategy games, there are action-adventure games. You could have a Starcraft mobile game, you could have a Diablo mobile game, they already have a card game. You know, there's really nothing stopping them. You know, the ingenuity is the only limit there, I think.
Right.
And, you know, Blizzard is a company and wants to make money, and there's a lot of money, and way more people have phones than PCs.
Absolutely.
So
I feel like we went plenty over in depth of what we thought maybe it could have been a better version of the announcement, but we never said they shouldn't have announced it or they shouldn't have made it. And I think we did a disservice to the Blizzard community not telling people to calm down. I cannot believe the extended nastiness that has come out of this release. And I really am here to say, as an open letter to, you know, we went to a convention where the company said, this is a place that we've created for you. Like, we do these cons for all of us because we want to be here as a community. I mean, yeah, they make money, right? They sell gear, they sell tickets, whatever.
Well, and it's all advertising for their stuff as well, of course.
Yeah. Let me tell you something. It's really easy to flip a switch and not do those events.
Sure.
Yep.
You know? I can't believe the negativity coming out of it. And I also am in kind of a little bit of shock that I think that negativity has led to a $30 downturn in their stock.
Oh, wow.
I mean, you know, activist investors are one thing. I don't think the fundamentals of the company have changed. So, you know, look, bad news means your stock goes down. That's how it goes. And they made a lot of bad news.
I don't think it's solely responsible, right?
And, you know, I have a little bit more even. I don't agree with the way the wider internet has reacted to this. It's bad, and those people should feel bad. But Blizzard isn't blameless here. They cultivate that community. You even said it, like how this is for you. You are our family. We're, you know, all together. And then they treated that family pretty bad. You know,
You think so? Here, Michael, jump in here.
I kind of had a follow up for you guys based on something that I know we talked about offline after you did your recordings last week, which was the announcement that wasn't at BlizzCon and then leaked out later.
Oh, right. Yeah. Well, we of course went over that, and I don't think we mentioned it since the podcast. We had mentioned in our recording that we thought they should have, you know, ended the thing by saying either moved Warcraft 3 to the end or said at the end, Diablo 4 is coming, by the way. We don't have anything ready.
Yeah, just put it out there.
And that changes the tone of the announcement.
Right.
And that's fine. JJ, I think I know where you're going, and I'm going to let you finish.
Okay.
But I do want to preface what you're going to say by saying it's a company.
Of course. And Blizzard has every right to go on and make a game like this. But they also should have at least a little self-awareness in that who are the people that are attending this convention? Who are these people that they're calling their family? Are they the people that are going to be casual phone gamers that this seems to be targeted at? Or are these the people that have been playing World of Warcraft for more than 10 years on the PC?
Rebuttal. Just because the Western audience is much higher attendance at BlizzCon than the Eastern audience does not mean that the entire Eastern audience who also plays World of Warcraft on their PCs is not also the biggest and most fervent market for phone games. So just because they don't like phone games don't mean that they're the only market that is family.
Of course not. And the problem isn't that they had this announcement or that they ended the conference with this thing, right? The problem is that they did it at a convention in front of a bunch of people who were not the audience for this thing.
I agree.
If they had done this as if they had their announcement done before the convention and then had this convention afterwards, I think the problem becomes a lot less, right? Like they don't need to have this convention to announce these games, right? They do.
Clearly, I'm shocked that 3/4 of the year, and I've said this before, the 3/4 of the year they keep leaking stuff out, and it's like, wait for BlizzCon. But I don't know. So it's their big event, right? And they're hoping that they're streaming tons of this stuff to China because they're trying to sell those virtual tickets, right? So it's kind of makes a little sense to me that if they're hoping that everyone in China is watching this, which is who this game is for, then they're going to have an announcement for them too.
Right. I'm not saying that they couldn't have done that, right? It's the issue is that the audience of people who were in the room were going to react badly. And you can't cover that up on a stream. Like,
I understand, yeah.
And I
understand what you're saying. But
it's an unsolvable problem, you know? Like,
yeah. I've heard the argument this week about like, well, this is not how you treat family. And it's like, well, they're a company, first of all. And yes, they may have cultivated a thing, but like, that's like saying, well, you know, your sister got something, then you need something. You know, when you're in a family, it's not always even gifting, you guys. They've promoted over the years a very fervent and a very dedicated fan base, and those people that they have, you know, enticed into their marketing machine, as it were, don't want this kind of a game, you know, in this market, right? But that's the reaction from the vocal part of the market that is against it, right?
Yes, and that's the one they should have heard the most easily and been easiest to predict what they were going to do.
But you can't just not make games. I understand what you're saying. I really do. I understand that announcing this at BlizzCon is what caused backlash. But I also think even if the backlash is quieter because they don't announce it at BlizzCon, the vocal minority of people that are so upset about this that they feel personally offended, I am offended by, because it's not all about you. It's about a company trying to stay afloat and make money while they make the game you want.
Right. And I think that's the
yeah, you didn't get a car this year. Your sister did. You know what I mean? Like, you got one last. You don't always get the same thing all the time. I know a car is a bad example. People don't usually get gifted a car, but I was staring at a picture of a car in front of me.
I think your point is correct, Andrew. I'm not saying that I disagree. It's that this reaction was the easiest thing to foresee if you paid attention to the internet at all.
I am just increasingly disappointed by the entitlement of people that believe a company, while as dedicated to the fans as they can be, doesn't also need to make money because it hurts their feelings. Yeah,
and this is a much bigger conversational topic, but it gets into sort of the dark side of fandoms, in that, you know, the fans think that the universe that was created for them belongs to them, and they should have say in what is and isn't a part of it.
Yeah, should Diablo only ever be a PC game that takes 8 years per installment? That's insane.
Right, of course not.
Yeah. That's insane. Not in a world where they can put out a game that preps and funds the giant version of the thing that has millions of dollars of cinematics in it. I don't know. It's perturbing. It really is. I'm very disappointed in a lot of people. I really am. You know, I'm a Blizzard fan, and I don't want this game, and I'm probably not going to play it.
Yeah, and I think, you know,
I'm not out there sending hate mail to the people that announced it.
Right, and of course anyone who does that is awful and should never do something like that. That's a terrible thing to do. You know, as a consumer, really the only power you have, sort of like in politics, is your vote, and your vote with your wallet here. It says, I'm not going to play, I'm not going to download, I'm not going to engage with this game. There you go. You've done all you can do.
Yep.
Getting mad about it is just wasting your own energy that you could be directing towards something that you do enjoy.
Absolutely. Let's talk about some things we do enjoy.
Well, so speaking of Blizzard, before we totally leave the subject, you guys inspired me a bit. There was for anyone who didn't,
I've heard that in my life.
For anyone who didn't catch it, this was the 20th anniversary of Starcraft.
Yeah, it was.
That was quietly mentioned in our recordings, I think.
Yeah, it might have been dropped in there. But I realized that I have had one last bit of StarCraft 2 sitting on the back burner for a while. They released some additional missions beyond the 3 installments of StarCraft 2 that were available as, I guess, essentially DLC. The Nova missions.
Yeah, they were released in installments too, but I think now they're all a package.
Yes, I think if you go to buy them now, you buy them as a package. I don't know if you can still get them as the small installments, but they were originally put out as 3 sets of 3 missions.
I would doubt that they're individual.
Yeah, I mean, sell it as one thing since it sounds like they connect, right?
Yeah, they're all part of one like small story arc.
All right, well, give us a rundown, because I think that they're sitting on my computer as well, and I have not done anything with them.
Yeah, so they pick up, I think, after the events of the main story arc.
Spoilers. Nova's still around at the end of StarCraft 2.
Yeah. Still kicking.
10-year-old game now? How old is StarCraft? Well, the end of StarCraft 2 is maybe, 5 years?
Yeah. I was
something like that, yeah.
Beginning of StarCraft 2 might be.
Between.
Nice.
All right. So I won't give anything away about the story, but I played through the first 3 missions, and the first 3 are a good sort of sampler of the different kinds of missions that are in StarCraft, the stuff you learn to love. So the very first mission is I'll say an exfiltration mission. Standard Ghost. You're in a facility and you have to escape.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
And then a mission. The second half of the mission is something that I don't think that I have ever played or seen in a StarCraft mission. It's a bike chase scene.
What?
So, side scroller, up and down. You're on a oh goodness, I'm blanking on the name of the unit.
Vulture?
Yeah. You're on a Vulture and you're basically racing along a highway.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was something completely out of the box, but it was actually a lot of fun for all that. It reminded me of there were a couple of things: the Battletoads, the impossible race level that everyone talks about, and then the sewer race, or some of the race levels in Turtles in Time from Super Nintendo.
Woo, deep pull,
man,
going way back with those, But yeah, it was something totally unexpected and I think a nice add. The second mission was your typical survive until the timer runs out.
Right.
reinforcements are coming and you have to defend an entrenched position.
I like
and
those
there are like 4 or 5 routes from the Zerg base to where you are, and you have to strategically place your units to set up choke points, basically.
So did you go on the offensive, or did you sit back and defend?
I probably went on the offensive a little more than I should have. So the base was getting hit a little harder than I wanted towards the end, but I survived the 20 minutes.
I would say paradoxically, a lot of those defense missions are actually solved better by offense and just wrecking the enemy completely.
Oh yeah, you're absolutely right, and Blizzard knows it because a lot of the achievements for base defense missions are like, did you go destroy any of the Zerg base?
It's like wipe out the enemy on the base defense mission.
Well, so this one was actually, it was well thought out to sort of keep you from doing that. Because of the terrain, the only units that you could easily move quickly from place to place don't have great stats against ground units. And so you can charge in if you want to, but it's either going to be slow going because you have to walk around everything in your way, or you can go up over the top, but as soon as you're down on the same level as everything else, you're at a disadvantage.
Oh.
So I think it was well thought out to sort of force you into being creative with how do you prevent incursions.
Cool.
I see.
And then the last one was you need to station 6 garrisons in an area that's been overrun by the Zerg. So you have to sort of clear out small sections of the map one at a time and then get a certain number of certain specified units to each position. And the more garrisons you station, the more they help you clear out the map, because the units can't be touched once they're in the garrison, but they can fire out. Which was definitely a mission that I took advantage of the permacloak and just ran Nova around the map clearing stuff out. They also introduced nukes for that mission, so it makes that task a lot easier.
You just walk the nukes forward.
I liked, by the end of Starcraft 2, the hero units were just so unbelievably powerful. Kerrigan in the main campaign is basically invincible. You can almost win some of the battles with just her, and you don't need to make bases.
Yeah, I did some of that. And they've got the same sort of skill tree and unit upgrades. I like that they tweaked the unit upgrades a little bit in that for the different types of units, be they people or vehicles, you can apply, you have one of each kind of upgrade, but you can pick which unit to apply it to. Right? So there's an upgrade where you can have additional units be able to jump up cliffs or onto buildings, and you can either give that to Hellbats or to siege tanks.
Oh, that's cool. I don't remember any of that stuff from the campaign, so that's like new.
Yeah, that's a tweak on the upgrade system from the campaign. I think from the original campaign, you got one of 2 options, and you were locked into your choice for the rest of the campaign missions. Right, so you could either do Zerglings split in 2, or they can scale cliffs.
The only benefit siege tanks have is they can't see up high ground.
Yeah.
Or the only downside. Now it's just, all siege tanks.
You don't really want to scout with your siege tank anyway.
That's
fine.
A
flood of Zerglings coming over the back of a base because they can scale the.
It's a pretty devastating move.
Yeah, right into the workers. Ooh.
Yeah, but it's been good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. My skills are horribly rusty.
Did you remember to use control groups?
I did remember to use control groups, so that part hadn't totally gone out of the window. But my micro is a little more macro right now.
Nice.
But yeah, if you've got it, I definitely recommend firing it up, giving it a shot.
That reminds me, after our discussion of control groups here, I reinstalled Warcraft 3 for a hot minute.
Did you?
Yeah. You know that game's still pretty good?
I'm sure it is.
You can play it on modern PCs. It works. Graphics are old, let's say. But you know what? It works. The limitations, though, man, you try to highlight more than a few units, you can do that, but you can't save them in control groups of more than, like, 12 or something.
Oh, friendo, no.
Going back, I went back to play some StarCraft 1 after finishing StarCraft 2 and had forgotten about the limited group size, and it makes a big difference.
Yeah. They're like, oh, they have a button for idle workers, just like in the more modern RTS games. Easy. So it's like really easy to keep your units going and, you know, pumping out those footmen and stuff and rally them to your hero. And, okay, I'm good. I try to, like, you know, drag select all the footmen. We're good. We attack. All right. I hit my control group with my hero and my footman. Hey, I left half the footmen behind. What just happened?
More than 12.
Yeah, that was a harsh remembrance, but
it's also a tough game in remembering also that the heroes have their powers are not like easily remembered what keys their powers are on.
Yeah, it's like Arthas's holy light is on T, but then his divine shield is like O, or it's like all over the keyboard, you know.
Yeah. Tough game.
Yeah, it's still fun to play, and definitely, you know, if you play it on normal, you don't need to be good enough to remember that stuff. You can kind of just cruise.
Yeah. Right on.
Good
Any other
stuff.
hot games that people are trying out?
So I touched on a second one actually this weekend. I took a break from the strategy and the RPG to pull up some platforming, and finally,
busy guy.
Yeah, it wound up being a good weekend for it. But I finally fired up some Ori and the Blind Forest.
Ooh.
Now that the sequel is coming out soon.
How far are we from the sequel to that game?
I want to say it's next spring.
Yeah, I want to say next year sometime.
I was really expecting one of us to have come on here and thought we were playing Red Dead Redemption, because even South Park is talking about it. Or is that already passé?
No, I mean, it's still very popular, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It's not this
Ori
podcast,
and the Blind
though.
Forest is a beautiful game.
Oh yeah. The art,
beautiful.
The art is the first thing that strikes you, and it's nonstop, right? Just the visuals of the whole thing.
Now, can you describe the movement once you've actually played the game? Because it looks extremely fluid and like it would frustrate me.
They do. So I didn't get terribly far into it. I think I unlocked one extra move in the half hour or so that I played. But they do a pretty good job, I think, of letting you get used to an ability before you get a new one. Right. So the movement at first is just run and jump, and that's all you've got. And you sort of get used to that, and then you get the next ability, which is what I got, which is the ability to climb up walls. And so I'm still getting used to that a little bit, because it does change your momentum. And I think a lot of this game, if from watching it especially, you get this sense, but a lot of this game is taking advantage of the momentum physics.
So you described this game as a platformer. I had always heard it described as a Metroidvania.
Yeah, and I can definitely see that as a good description of it.
Definitely the powers are like grabbing the Metroid upgrades.
Yeah.
You have to go get the powers, right? Or you have to go get...
Well, some of both. There's a skill tree as well.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a little
so
different.
Yeah, maybe a Metroidvania might be a more apt description, especially with the map and the...
Well, it definitely seems like the movement is pretty different from your stuff like Hollow Knight and Symphony and those kind of games, though. So
it's very fluid movement, and your move is also kind of your attack, if I remember from what I've seen in the speed runs.
Yeah, so to start with, you get an attack that's kind of like firing energy pulses. And then later, I think you get the ability to launch yourself as an attack.
So it kind of diverges from the normal whip and pulse gun sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah. One thing I was not expecting, or maybe prepared for is a better thing to say. So, having seen this mostly done as a speed run, all of the speed running community skips over the prologue.
Oh,
and the prologue is almost totally story driven. There's nothing real like learn the controls about it. But all that being the case, the story will remind you of those opening 10 minutes of Up.
Oh no.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it's that kind of like punch you in the gut.
I don't need that this week. There's enough going on.
I will say, the one thing that has always got me, every picture I've seen of that game, it just looks like, how did they make this happen? It's just so pretty. Even, several years now after its release, it's just so good looking.
Yeah.
Like, and the art is just amazing.
That happened to me a couple of times where I got caught just sort of staring at the art and not paying attention to what was attacking me or what I was doing.
Well, Ori, the character, kind of sometimes looks like he should be just blending into a piece of art, I wouldn't be surprised if you lose the character by accident. I don't know.
It's probably easier in motion, but I agree. Like the screenshots and stuff, you're just like, man, it's so good. Well, a little bit like Cuphead in that regard, where you're just like, man, that art is so striking.
Well, which one are you headed back to first, StarCraft or Ori?
Ooh,
that's real
tough
review here.
Because Ori, the way that the game is set up, you can sort of save at any point, so you can dump little bits of time in here and there. StarCraft is, dumping in the time to complete a full mission, but
Sure.
StarCraft will also be probably quicker to get through because it's just 6 more missions.
Mm-hmm.
So I might bounce back and forth a little bit, but I can definitely see myself finishing up StarCraft first.
All right.
Good stuff, man.
I'm going to round out this little mini Blizzard-ish segment, excluding the Ori talk, with reminding you to go grab your copies of Destiny 2.
Oh, yeah, good point.
Anybody that, has a Blizzard account, go click that thing. And you just have to claim it. You don't even have to install it, and it's yours forever.
Yep, free download.
Is it just everyone, or did you have to buy the virtual ticket also?
I think it's everyone.
I'm pretty sure it's everyone.
Okay.
Maybe,
that's
what?
rad.
Maybe
People
it might be BlizzCon people.
No, because I got a note about it.
Oh, well, there you go.
Okay. Well, yeah, definitely you should do that because free game is free, and that seems good.
I may have pre-ordered Warcraft Reforged while we were sitting here.
Okay.
Well
hey, I'm in for that.
Okay. Ori might have a depressing narrative. Let's talk about something that maybe looks like it doesn't have a depressing narrative.
Okay.
The internet is abuzz.
Yes.
Maybe on fire. Certainly has been shocked.
No one saw this coming.
Do I detect some big news coming?
By the surprise drop of the Detective Pikachu trailer.
It is nothing like what I expected.
A game and a movie that I thought were both April Fool's jokes, and I've now been burned twice.
The game has been out for a bit.
I know. But when it came out, when it was announced and when it came out, I thought it was an April Fool's joke. And then when they said the first live action Pokemon thing is going to be Detective Pikachu, I thought that was another joke. No one's kidding around with this movie.
No.
I am not abreast of the internet's reaction to this, but we should talk about what it looks like first, and then maybe we'll talk about if you guys have the scoop on the internet reaction, and then our reaction.
So I think the best way to describe it is realistic Pokemon.
It looks like Ted. Did you see that movie?
Yeah,
that is actually a really good comparison.
It's like you took everyone hopefully knows what Pikachu looks like, right? He's the little yellow guy. He's got the stripes in the tail. But what if you put like realistic, good-looking fur on Pikachu?
Right.
It's kind of creepy looking.
I mean,
then you did that to
like
every weird-looking Pokemon that's out there.
It's like you made big plush versions of all the Pokemon and then animated them like animatronics.
The video has a shot of a Jigglypuff on a table.
Which looks terrifying, honestly.
It's terrifying. All of them are nightmares.
Not all of them.
A lot of them are nightmares.
The Charmander looks pretty cute when he runs towards the screen with his little tail on fire.
The lizardy
Charizard
ones
looks like I would run screaming for the hills.
I think the lizardy ones look the best because we have a lot of experience with what lizards should look like. The furry ones and the other ones are just creepy.
Yes, I think the furless ones will probably provide nightmares to a few people.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well,
but okay, let's work on the trailer itself first. It got that kind of like, what was that movie that came out that ended up being bad? I guess I never saw it. This is the part I'll cut out because my brain's not working.
Could use some help here.
Video game. The world is not real. You're in a simulation.
Ready Player One?
Ready Player One. That one. It kind of looks like and feels like a little bit of the Ready Player One treatment about everyone already knows this story, whereas many of us don't already know this story.
I just think the way they chose to juxtapose human people with these like quote unquote real life Pokemon is just, it is a look, man. Wow.
Yeah, they picked an art style and definitely just went for it.
So in this trailer, it follows a kid that may or may not be a police officer. It's unclear.
He is the son of a police officer.
But also in some scenes, it looks like he's also a police officer.
I think he's looking at his dad's stuff, and his dad, from what I got from the trailer, his dad has disappeared.
Right, so maybe
he gets enlisted by Pikachu to find his dad, help find his dad.
Yeah, it sounds like his dad was some kind of famous police person, and Pikachu now is looking for him or something. Unclear.
Yeah,
I
like that this trailer kind of left a lot to be answered here.
Yeah,
considering the way most modern trailers go,
it really doesn't lead me in any direction of where this thing is headed.
So can we just talk about some stuff in the trailer real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
There's no spoilers for a trailer. You
good.
could go watch it. And to pause us, go watch for 3 minutes the Detective Pikachu trailer. It's the only one online. You literally go to YouTube and you put in the letter D and it'll be the first thing you click. I'm not even joking. I believe you. Pull up YouTube. Do it. I'm
not fact checking you.
You could probably also type in R, but we'll get to that in a second.
Wait, what?
Yeah, so that's the thing I was going to say. So Pikachu speaks in this, which is like somewhat revelatory, right? Because Pokemon don't normally talk. They make it a thing.
D gets me Detective Pikachu. R gets me Rap Devil.
What
does that say about you then?
Are you?
No. What does it say about you as a person that that's what you got? Anyway.
Because the second one is Red Dead Ryan's Toys Reviews.
Yeah, never mind that.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, you're waiting for Ryan Reynolds.
Yes, because Ryan Reynolds is the voice of Pikachu here.
Right.
And
right. Yeah.
You guys, I just want to say, what if it had been Danny DeVito instead?
No. It affects this movie 0% if it was Danny DeVito instead, I think.
Or what if it was Sam Elliott?
Sam Elliott.
Ooh.
That changes things.
Now, I had these thoughts when I first saw there was a trailer. I was like, oh my God, did they actually do the internet meme thing of Danny DeVito being in this movie? And then no, they didn't, of course, because Ryan Reynolds sells 1 million movies. But
Sure.
What if they had, you guys? And then I was thinking about, well, like, okay, they didn't get Danny DeVito probably because they didn't want to. Who else would have been good? It's like, well, we can't do James Earl Jones anymore. We could have done Sam Elliott, and he would have the voice to be the grizzled old Detective Pikachu that I want.
Or The Big Lebowski. My brain is not functioning.
Do you mean the cowboy from The Big Lebowski who is Sam Elliott?
No, I know who Sam Elliott is. I'm not.
Sorry, that was where my mind was going.
No.
I'm talking about Jeff Bridges.
Oh, sure, yeah. Put Jeff Bridges in.
He's now gotten old enough to do a good cowboy like Sam Elliott.
I just want like a grizzled old man voice. And I think that would like juxtapose this cute, furry, little toy-like Pikachu with like some dude who's been a chain smoker for like 60 years.
I think maybe my back of my hippocampus or something is melding movies here because Ryan Reynolds and Jeff Bridges were in a detective movie called R.I.P.D. together.
Man.
Yep, terrible movie. I have actually seen it.
Correct.
Oh God, it's so bad. Kevin Bacon really lights up the screen on that one.
Whew. Yeah. But man, I kind of want to see this Pikachu movie now.
Oh, what?
So that was one of the better takes I saw was, I cannot believe I'm going to have to walk into a theater in 5 months and say, 1 ticket for Detective Pikachu, please.
So I don't know what the internet reaction to this is, and I guess we'll do it after. But I watched this and thought, there's no way I can't see this.
Yeah. I in spite of not having any interest in Pokemon really whatsoever, I kind of really want to see this movie now. And not even necessarily because Ryan Reynolds. I do like Ryan Reynolds' stuff generally. But man, wow.
Not enough to fly out and see it.
Yeah, not enough to see some weird Pokemon movie that he's in. But man, wow. This movie is a lot.
You really can't do it justice. And they sell a lot of it, like when Pikachu tries to lunge at Mime and Mime just puts up the invisible wall.
Yep.
But they don't put like special effects or anything in there. He just holds his hands up and then Pikachu stops dead in the air.
Yeah, man.
So not only did they make a crazy looking movie, they made a movie also, it seems like, for Pokemon people.
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Yeah. And I think it will be interesting to see the way they have redone all of these Pokemon in the realistic style.
Well, yeah, how will some of them walk?
Yeah. How will some of them float? Because canonically, a lot of them don't walk.
Or how big will some of them be? Like,
yeah. If you go by the lore in those Pokemon entries, some of these Pokemon are like the size of buildings. Or like, they take up football fields worth of space. So, it should be interesting.
We'll find out.
How much did your heart melt when they gave you the Pika Pika sound?
It was good.
It was everything.
They got it just right.
It was everything you wanted it to be.
Okay, I hope it was Ryan Reynolds recording that Pika Pika.
Oh my gosh, please.
I want that to be true.
I want it to be true too.
Oh, also I like Justice Smith, who plays the kid.
I don't know anything that he's in. Is he what's he for?
Fallen Kingdom, Jurassic World. He was the IT kid.
Yeah. I didn't see that movie.
I didn't either.
But I liked him as well. He plays just enough of the like, I am the teen along on this ride that I want to know more.
I have sincere fear that he will be the weakest link here.
Well, he's certainly getting upstaged by Ryan Reynolds.
Well, based on
100% of the time.
There's that shot where Pikachu jumps up on a table and he's supposed to be looking at him, he's just static. He has like no expression.
Yeah, Pikachu doesn't have any facial expression.
No, not Pikachu.
The kid.
The kid. And I'm like, a Pokemon just jumped up on a table in front of it. He doesn't even like back up.
Well, you know,
react to it. And I know it's early footage because it's a trailer, but that is my one area of concern, is how well a younger actor will play off of a digital effect.
Also, Pokemon jumping up onto tables is probably not something surprising to him.
Maybe.
In that
sure,
world,
you
right?
could try and sell bad acting that way.
Dang.
I'm being overly judgmental. I obviously will wait to see this movie and judge him fairly, but younger actors sometimes struggle with things that are off screen.
Yeah, I do not know the entire internet's reaction, but all the people that I have seen on the internet have all just been like, no one knows how to process this. It's a lot.
Also, people think the mime is terrifying.
The mime is weird.
He's weird.
He's definitely weird. I don't know if he's terrifying or not. I can't decide. Which is probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think no one expected this to happen, and now that it's happening, everyone is trying to figure out if they are intrigued enough by the really, really weird idea to go see this, and like obviously we are.
Can you remember? So looking at there's a picture of Pikachu up on our screen here. If you look at the Discord that we have up, that right there, if you imagine it animated, the Pikachu with the hat, that's as far as the Pokemon Company used to be willing to go. Like, if they licensed out characters, if they did anything, you could not change the look of any of their characters, and Nintendo had this problem too. But Pokemon Company was worse because they didn't want people doing horrible things to their, child toys, basically.
Yeah.
You could only add a hat, and that's why Detective Pikachu only has a hat. You could only add a hat. That's all you could do. And now they have leaned in so far to this that I feel like they're in the upside down. And we're watching something crazy.
Brands are getting weird out there on the internet.
They have to get brave, man.
I don't think it's just brave. I think that it's like
people react. Relevant.
Yeah, they got to stay relevant. People react to this stuff, and this is a swing, man. They are swinging for the fences here, and I think this movie is either going to make no money or an insane amount of money, and I don't know which it is.
And if it makes, I'm right there with you, but I feel like if it makes no money, it's going to get a huge cult following.
Look, Venom is crushing records in China. This movie is going to crush records both places. Okay?
Yeah, probably.
I will call that shot right now. This movie is going to be a critical and financial success.
Critical success, unclear, but financial success.
Critical now is
that's a bit of a reach, but
critical on what grounds, right? Like, do I think Roger Ebert is going to give it 2 stars? No, but I think that the Rotten Tomatoes on this will be good.
Yeah. Okay.
I
mean, that's the way people choose how to see movies now. So,
not wrong.
I just can't believe how hard into this they leaned and how much I feel excited for something that I didn't know I wanted to see. And I know I've been a vocal person about like, oh great, we're making another Magnificent Seven again. And while I like all the actors in the 3rd reboot of it, I'm not sure that I want to see it again. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
And then this comes along and you're like, I don't think anyone's ready for this movie.
I'm glad they're getting out here and trying something, even if the story is literally just the story of the game condensed down.
I think it's fine.
I think it's fine. Yeah, let's do it.
All right. Well, I think that this is the first time I haven't been somewhat concerned to ask for me emails, and instead I'm really, really dying to have somebody email us.
Yes.
About Detective Pikachu. Please tweet at us, email us, whatever. What are your thoughts on Detective Pikachu? We need to know.
That address is podcast@weweregamers.com and facebook.com/weweregamers and @weweregamers on Twitter and Instagram. We really need to know. Please email us about Detective Pikachu. I need a reason to talk about this more.
And maybe throw us a which Pokemon that was not in the trailer are you most excited to see on screen?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm not. All right, Mike. You know what? Michael's in for that, so we'll do it. You have to read them all.
That's fine. Send them
and
to
describe them.
Send them to
it's
me.
A podcast. Okay. It's that time. We always end the podcast during the football season with a little bit of Randy C. football. All I have to report is that Cooper Kupp is now in my IR spot.
Yep. Sad day.
Sad season. What an amazing player to just have such bad luck this season.
Yeah, you feel for the
Sophomore
guy,
year,
don't you?
man. Ugh, it's terrible.
Yeah, he tweaked his knee there a couple weeks ago, and you thought it was going to be bad, but he came back. It was okay, and
Probably
then
too soon.
yeah, possibly. Now he's out. Big bummer.
Yeah, hopefully, an ACL is a 50-50 on if the dude is able to come back with a good cut or not. I don't know. I feel really bad for a sophomore player to go through something so horrible. Anyway, I'll probably win my game. I guess I could check it. It's probably over now, right?
Yeah, it's all done.
Yep. Okay, cool. It was kind of an expected-ish result, although Sony Michel and New England losing to Tennessee.
Yeah, getting handled by Tennessee.
Mm-hmm.
Let's also talk about the Panthers, Michael.
Yeah, So I saw something right before the game started. They flashed up a stat that the Panthers have not beaten the Steelers in 14 years. After that game, I can see why. One of those teams that has your team's number. So the only saving grace for me, well, there were two, but I have McCaffrey, who was all of the Carolina offense.
I was going to say literally McCaffrey versus the Steelers.
Yep, and my quarterback is Ben Roethlisberger.
One of the funny takes away from that game that I heard was the Steelers knew how to beat the Panthers. They decided to play 11 on 10. They just didn't cover McCaffrey. Took everybody else out of the game. And it worked.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, they were pretty relentless with pressuring Newton all night, and he never got into a rhythm.
It was a tough one to watch. It looked ugly.
Yeah.
That was pretty much my notes for this week as well. I think I'm going to win this week in my my big leagues here, and McCaffrey bailed me out in a couple of them for sure. But the rest of my players were kind of just like, they played. That's good. No one did awful. I lost Cooper Kupp. That sucked.
Yeah.
I don't think I noticed this until looking at the final numbers here just now, but David Johnson actually outscored Christian McCaffrey.
No.
Yeah, he was that whole game also.
Yeah, by half a point, but
PPR though.
He was
They're passing
of Arizona.
A lot of passing.
That makes sense in your PPR league.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, no one has anything to rant about?
No.
If I had lost, I'd left a lot of points on my bench, but I pulled out the win, so I'm not going to be that guy.
I left a whopping, if I added all up, 5.2 points on my bench.
Yeah, I sort of didn't have a lot of choices this week either because it was bye weeks everywhere in a bunch of leagues. So
that was me last week.
Blank. Traquan Smith blanked this week. Weird. Considering they didn't get Des Bryant on the field, I would have thought he would have done something. Good thing I didn't put him in the lineup. Poor Des Bryant. Oh man, what a
there's another one.
I know that Kupp was a non-contact injury and Dez was a non-contact injury, but the sheer volume of knee and ankle and leg injuries year has been shocking, and I cannot understand. We gotta figure out somebody needs conditioning for their legs. So anyway,
I don't know how you. Yeah, because it's every year the NFL, man.
Yeah. All right. Well, what is the quote, buddy?
On to week. I don't even know what week this week is. Was this week 10, 11?
This was week 10. On to week 11.
On to week 11.
Yay.